Don't put your wand in your back pocket. Better wizards than you have lost a buttock, you know. Hey, what's up, my friends? Welcome back to Wizarding Wiz. I know I keep changing my greeting, trying to find one that works really well. Anyway, we are on to part 5 of wand lore, and I promise there's more than just one wand in this one. I hope you guys enjoyed that Elder Wand one. I kind of went off on a little thing there, but I had a lot of fun with that one, and of course, you know I had to give Elder Wand its own. But we will be moving on, and we will be doing multiple wands in this video because we do have many more still to go. This is a long series, and if you saw my video yesterday, you know that the game could potentially be right around the corner, so we really kind of need to push through this just a little bit faster. So today we will be starting with Elm. Now, there is a belief when it comes to Elm that only a pure blood wizard can produce magic out of an Elm wand. This is completely untrue and was most likely started by some pure-bloodist trying to boost their own blood credentials. This is in fact completely untrue. In fact, Mr. Ollivander states so himself and also goes on to say that he has met many a perfect match for the Elmwood wand that were in fact Muggle-born. And I used fact a lot in that statement. The truth is that Elm wands prefer an owner with presence, magical dexterity, and as Ollivander puts it, a bit of native dignity. Now, the alluring thing about Elm wands is that they produce the least amount of accidents or foolish errors, and produce the most elegant spells and charms. This, along with the fact that they are highly sophisticated wands, desirable among those who like to tout the pure blood or blood supremacy line, but in fact, blood has nothing to do with it. It's all about the witch or wizard. Next up is English Oak. English Oak is known as the king of the forest between the winter and summer solstices, and therefore should only be collected during this time, as it is most efficacious and most powerful at this point in time, because holly, which we will cover later in this series, becomes the king of the forest after the summer solstice as the days begin to shorten again. English Oak is as loyal as the witch or wizard who deserves it, and generally prefers partners of strength, courage, and fidelity, and typically somebody of a powerful intuition and a kind of connection with natural magic, meaning the creatures and the plants that wizard kind needs for both magic and pleasure. So basically, if you are somebody who is fiercely loyal, strong, and courageous, and you have an affinity with nature not only for the necessity of it, but for the pleasure of it, this wand is most likely for you. Now we're going to move right along to the most resilient of trees, fir. Now, wands made from a fir tree have been referred to by Mr. Ollivander's grandfather, Gerald Octavius Ollivander, which is a really hard name to say, is known to refer to them as the survivor's wand. This is because he himself had sold 3 wands of fir whose owners subsequently managed to pass through mortal peril completely unscathed. A fir wand will demand staying power and purpose in their owners and are very poorly matched for people who are of an indecisive nature. They are, however, very, very well suited for transfiguration, and they tend to prefer an owner of a focused, strong-minded, and maybe even sometimes intimidating demeanor. So, in other words, it's kind of the perfect wand for, say, the Minerva McGonagalls of the world. So, for the first part of this next wand, I am going to be quoting directly from the source material of Mr. Ollivander's notes because the way it's worded, I think, is very important to the description of the wand, and I didn't want to break it down or paraphrase it any way different because I think, like I said, that it is very important and can't be said any better than the way it is stated here. So Mr. Ollivander writes, "The wand maker Grigorovich wrote that Hawthorne makes for a strange and contradictory wand, as full of paradoxes as the tree from which gave it birth, whose leaves and blossoms heal, but whose cut branches smell of death." Now, that is directly quoted from Mr. Ollivander, who is quoting Mr. Grigorovich. Ollivander then goes on to say that while he generally disagrees with many of Grigorovich's conclusions on wands, they do agree on the Hawthorne wand, who, much like the owners best suited for them, are intriguing and complex in nature. Because while Hawthorne wands are well suited for healing, they are also extremely well adept at curses, and of course seem most at home with a witch or wizard of a complex nature, and or who may be passing through some sort of inner turmoil. Hawthorne wands are typically best paired with somebody of proven talent, otherwise the consequences could be extremely disastrous due to the fact that their spells, when handled incorrectly, can, will, and do backfire. So basically, if you are a complex, many-layered person with a good amount of talent who knows how to handle their weapon, this wand will be best suited for you. If not, the consequences will be highly disastrous. The final wand we are going to talk about today is hazel. Hazel wands are very interesting because of the fact that they are so sensitive in the way that they tend to reflect upon their owner's emotional state. Therefore, they are typically better off with somebody who understands and can control their emotions, or at the very least manage their feelings well. Any other person should be very careful when handling another's wand if it is made of hazel, especially if that person has just lost their temper or is suffering from a great disappointment, because the hazel wand will absorb this emotion and discharge it randomly. However, on a more positive note, hazel wands are capable of very skillful and outstanding magic when in skillful hands, and they become so devoted to their owners that oftentimes they will wilt, meaning it will expel all of its power and refuse to work at the end of its original owner's life. Now, there are ways to salvage the core, maybe, unless it's made of unicorn. If it is made of unicorn, the wand will essentially, and I put this in air quotes, die. But something interesting about these wands is that they can detect hidden or underground water and will generally let off a water droplet shaped puff of silvery smoke when passing over a hidden stream or well. So I guess that'll come in handy if you're ever out on your own. And a hazel wand is definitely more well suited for the more level-headed and logical person. Maybe somebody similar to the Hermione Grangers. Maybe not quite so annoying, but logical and not quick to think with emotion as opposed to thinking with their brain. If this sounds like you, hazel is your wand. And that's it for today's video, guys. Leave a like on it. Let me know what you thought down in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share with your friends so we can continue to grow. And as always, stay safe and watch out for Dementors.